Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rahakodash, the one the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, salutations, and blessings to the elect, pushing the word across the four corners of earth, risking your life to do so. All right, and this recent situation with Ashley Janae, this goes to show you, like the scriptures say, a woman was not imparted wisdom. No matter how much you like her, no matter how good she looks. Oh, she looks good. A lot of people look good. Women were not imparted wisdom. But it's all prophetic. The scriptures talk about it. Let the tares grow amongst the wheat. Because that's what the women of the tribes, they've been doing this for years. Going off, fucking with Esau. And then he'll get rid of you, send your ass back to the hood. Because you can't really go, around in his neighborhood. You could try the whole, Whole Foods, exotic tea type of chick, type of that, you could be on that type of vibe, but them Edomites, they're just going to use you. All right? This is why we say what we say. Well, basically everything we're saying out the scriptures first and foremost. That's the inspiration. But the man carries the seed. The man progresses the nation. It's just that simple. The man has the seed. The woman doesn't have the seed. All right, it tells you that in the scriptures. Sow your seed in a good field. And you find a good field, sow your seed. All right, that field represents a woman. I would say he pranked his girl by putting, this is the kind of stuff that Edomites do. Let me see. This is her. There's nothing like a man who lets you rest in your feminine energy. Every day, black men wake up and find new ways to embarrass us. Which, to a point, a lot of stuff is an embarrassment. But when you say us, you're trying to say that as a collective of you being black women, which, you're completely out of pocket. Right? We don't know for sure if the dude is Jake, and he could just look like an Edomite. But I'm going to just go ahead and call him an Edomite, because just based on the vibes. Yeah, this dude look like an Edomite. He just put all black on. You could wear all black, but it's just hot, And I could be wrong. Soft life. Private plane, yeah. This dude look like Edomite. And so she was found in Tanzania dead. And they was talking about it was a suicide, and the Tanzanian government is not gonna take any further action, which that's all the information was released. Hey, we telling you who this man is. Y'all can go run off with him if you want to. It's been happening for hundreds of years already since we got in captivity. Now I remember Ephraimite told me a story about that when they were war with Esau in Puerto Rico, how all the women jumped and jumped out, went over and ran to the other side. All right, brothers, that's part of being a soldier, man. Expect these bras to do that. Shit, Esau woman, she gonna jump because they know the real story. See, the black woman, they don't know the real deal. They see the bright lights and the stat. He's driving this car, not understanding their empire is crashing. Their blessing is over with. Their power is fading. Their sons are all homosexual. Their daughters are all sluts. This ain't the 70s. This ain't the 80s. You can listen to their music and see they don't have the same strength. Shit, rock and roll is dead. You know, even though Jake started that, but you know, Edomites love rock and roll. A lot of those artists are Jake, for the record. I'm just saying, just for the optics. All right, that's why the scriptures say, Sirach 8:6, strive not with an angry man, and go not with him into a solitary place. You get into it with somebody, well, yeah, come over here. Nah. Whereas that's what a lot of these black women, you notice in these videos, that's what they'll do. They'll get into it with somebody, then they'll follow the person. You know, they done followed you in the alley somewhere, and all of a sudden, what happened? It says, and go not with him into a solitary place, for blood is as nothing in his sight, and where there is no help, he will overthrow you. So you got to be, you know, mindful and tactical when you're around Esau. All right, now, you know, of course, a lot of us have to work with them or whatever. So, you know, certain situations, but you have to be mindful at all times. All right, some things you can't just allow to slip away. The scriptures say, let not understanding escape thee. Yes, at all times, he's still Esau. At all times, they're watching you. Now, certain situations, you know, they kind of, I call it, it's Satan, but, you know, it's not he's not active, you know, inactive. You know, you meet people that are nice to you, whatever, everything cool or whatever. You know, like people call it the honeymoon phase. You meet somebody, you know, everybody's polite, put their best foot forward, best smile, best cologne. But then you start to know them, you know, more and more. You know, Esau starts to try to figure you out more and more. You know, Satan starts to come out more and more, you know. That's what happens. That's why with these people in the world, you really can't be too close with them. The scriptures say separate from your enemies. All right, yes, Sirach 6:13. Separate yourself from your enemies and take heed of your friends. So take heed of your friends and separate from your enemies. All right, all this 48 Laws of Power, which was written by an Edomite, you know, who was in the corporate business world. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Nah, man. See, we didn't do that. We had our own land. We had separation. You know, they might have people coming through to trade or do business or who were bond servants, but that land was ours. You know, and if we got to give you the boot, we gonna give your ass the boot. You're a guest here. You know, versus now where Jake was fooled into wanting to integrate, and we want to be a part, and we want to be over here with them, and we want to. But that's okay. It's all through prophecy, because the scriptures say that. All right, Matthew 13. And 30, yeah, let them both grow together into the harvest. And in the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, gather ye together first the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. All right, then the Lord breaks it down. In verse 38, verse 37, he answered and said, he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, the good seed of the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked ones. You've always had Edomites. First off, you have wicked Israelites. So all this, you know, holly jolly, you know, you try to be peaceful with all men, but you have wicked ass people amongst you who look like you. But then they're being ruled and they're being catered to by the wicked. But then amongst them, you have people, you have Israelites amongst them who look like them, some of which are wicked and some of which are not. All right, and ultimately, like I said, the angels are going to sort it out. This is Amos 1:11. Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword. You couldn't even deal with your brother according to the scriptures. You pursued him with the sword. I got to kill him. Even though I did sell him the birthright, I got to get it, And to cast off all pity. No pity. None. No mercy. And his anger did tear perpetually, so he kept his anger. Never subsided, which that's wicked. The scriptures say you're supposed to deal with a situation. Say, let not the sun set up on your wrath. Now, sometimes you do have to, follow the spirit. You might have you wait. But ultimately, you're supposed to deal with that matter and keep it moving. All right? And his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. And that's the case with Esau. They still kept their wrath up till now. You get on Twitter, they're super active. Twitter is like, that's why I like getting on there. It's like 4chan now. All right, they just let them say anything, post anything. You can see all kind of jokes, about you tribes on there. It shows you who the tribes are. Say we're gonna be a byword. And all these nations talk shit about us, and not just so-called blacks, so-called Latinos too. They're in there talking cash shit about you. All these people are stupid. These people are this. The people are that. All right, and the problem arises when you allow them to be right by ignoring what the Lord said. All right, by not waking up and by not repenting and turning back. But you better know who the said it kept his wrath forever. You better know when the opportunity presents itself, they're gonna take it. All right, all you sisters out there, take notes. Listen up, and shalom to the elect.